All right, I want to try to make this brief because I understand we're nearly a quarter into the regular season. It's around Thanksgiving break. It's a time to assess what we identify an NBA team. The New York Knicks are that an NBA team. They're fourth best after a four straight winning streak. We've been looking good. To be fair, teams below our competition. We got majorly exposed on our lack of perimeter defense in our season opener against the Boston Celtics. We outplayed structurally a Pacers team that's right now on the up and down. And we've been looking convincing in our back-to-back against the Boston Celtics. We beat the Wizards convincingly. Then we play out of outman Suns. So knowing we've been looking convincing against lesser teams, what's going to be that team to gather us into the gripe of things? Because I don't feel like in our 5-game road trip, come the 23rd, and we got the Utah Jazz, then the Denver Nuggets, Dallas Mavericks, must-win games to show over convincingly, especially over the lack of confidence in both rosters right now. Possibly the Mavericks will be our biggest game, knowing that's Brunson's former team, playing off against Klay Thompson, Luka Doncic, that even though with his inefficiency this season, he's still an All-NBA guard that you should never move away from. And I'm not going to lie, there's been some gripes, even though how good we've looked. We forgot that we went over a game where we lost over 2 straight, where we got exposed against Houston. We somehow lost to Atlanta with a career high from a rookie from our first round from the first overall pick this season, and the Indiana Pacers team that we should have won, but we somehow got shut out. And we're playing the only convincing teams that you think we'd beat on paper. Milwaukee Bucks are having the worst season as expected, with Doc Rivers having probably his worst start as head coach for a contending team. And we've lost to real basketball teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics this season. So hopefully when we play against more legitimate competition, because of course we would say it's gelling purposes, but we are over 15 games into the season. So you think you could assess what comes up in the latter half before All-Star break? That, of course, I feel like Karl Anthony Towns has done a well-done job this season. I'm not going to try to denounce his game. I feel like he's been doing good this year. His efficiency is looking good over top of the keys, attacking down the rim. He's proven well to be such an asset as a secondary primary scorer. He's gotten a lot of big games under his belt, coming as a sizable floor spacer. And that's been the Knicks' compensation, because I feel like we were shutting out so well with DiVincenzo, while Julius Randle can be a 20 to 25 point scorer, get the some odd 40-point game. He had a 50-point game in Minnesota, but his inconsistencies was a bit more apparent, so they wanted to get more legitimate floor spacing, perimeter, offensive heavy Knicks team with a Thibodeau's led philosophy, with Towns at least showing that. And you're still getting all NBA talent coming from his game started. 22, he dropped 14, and he dropped 34, 24, 26, 46 against Chicago, and then he comes off a 21-point game against Philly. So it ended over 34, and he already had 31 around, 26 around the first half. So Towns' scoring splits are there, and he's shown to be very effective around the field. Even the 50, even great from behind the arc. And shooting above 10 shots, going 50% from the field is astounding for a center. Brunson, I feel like, taking a bit of a leap down over production, because even though he's great as a starting guard, it's better if we try to revolt him in a pairing role where it looks like he's getting some chemistry over with Towns. Mikal Bridges is a bit more concerning, because I speak into a lot of guys. Like I have Knicks fans around the community that I associate with, like YTC. That's also a notable Knicks fan. But this isn't Phoenix Suns Karl Anthony Towns. Hell, this is not even close to. This is not even close to Brooklyn Nets. Mikal Bridges, the way we're seeing him. Excuse me, 31% from three. This is not what we were suspecting from a guy that's had very impressive shooting splits from behind the arc. 36, his career 38% from the field in his contract year. Before he was pushing an efficient 37%. But he's only been like around 41% from a corner spot up perimeter over a jump shot that looks like it should be for a 7-footer. Even for guys like Mikal Bridges, I feel like his defense has taken a way out drop where it looks like he can't switch properly, or we're letting out too many easy buckets around the 3-point game in an era where three-pointers has been the primary source of getting points over on the board in a faster pace, especially in a score-heavy league like the NBA. So it gets very priority focus than back last season for the New York Knicks when we were allowing 95 points, 86 points. I think the lowest we allowed was 77 points over in a game where we dropped 113. One time when we had a 5 straight winning streak after we killed it in the deadline getting OG Anunoby. So knowing like how big of a drop over scoring wise we've gotten, it just takes over inefficiency that possibly a rotation got to change. Now I'll give this. We seem to be getting big developmental deals over some of our younger players. Like Hoku Porty seems to be a good defensive perimeter shot blocker. I love Tyler Kulak. I want to see him get a few more minutes. Give him at least 9 minutes max. 8 minutes max to floor the space. He seems like a good floor general. Good over on the ball. He's confident off the dribble. I like the way he passes. Jericho Sims knows he's going to get majority of the bigger roles, knowing that he is an athletic center that's been crashing more of the glass, getting a second chance. He's good off the lob. We forgot that he was on the dunk contest because nobody watches it. And Mitchell Robinson has still been out with an injury. So it just using that, knowing that his contract was over and declined, than a guy that we gotta pay. It would have done a bit more justice if we got a guy that's more easy on the small ball lineup if we're trying to stop over 3-point shooting teams, like Precious Achua, and you can see that apparently because the only decent defenders that we have is of course OG, that still does a lot of things great on the team that I love. Jericho Sims sometimes. Miles McBride was a hustle defender, and losing DiVincenzo gave a lot of shot stopping off blow by finishes in the paint. So losing that a team player that could listen over offensively and get, I think, more efficient shots over on the outside really loses a lot of focus on this Knicks team. But I don't know who's prospering more. The Knicks that are looking a bit more convincing when the season goes on, or Minnesota Timberwolves team that still looks like they're in the conversation. But right now, Minnesota's 7-8. And we haven't been hearing much over career milestones except chemistry issues. And they're starting Julius Randle. Well, hot dog. But that's just my assessment. I don't feel like it's because of the Knicks. The Knicks. Oh wow. Okay, now they changed to third place. The Knicks are proving like they're the best because they're the third best team. Yet they are not even the double digits yet. It's just because of the downfall of most of the Eastern Conference teams that were in a more progressive stance. Because if the Sixers and Bucks were actually as good as they should be, they would have been a minimum fifth seeded team that I feel like the Knicks could finish on. Because Paolo Banchero's out, and yet the Orlando Magic are looking like a more legitimate, well-focused machine with better coaching and more team effort on the defensive side of the ball that I feel like is more of a priority than ever. That you're seeing with Franz Wagner being outstanding, hitting that game winner against the Los Angeles Lakers. Jalen Suggs proving that he's really worth the money. Martins Wagner coming from a reserve, basic, below average starter when he was up in Washington, in LA, to now he's being a primary rotation over on the Magic. And the Miami Heat that's still somewhat fifth seed, even though they're one game below 500. Yeah, it's that bad. We're like 2002 Eastern Conference era right now. How the Toronto Raptors can't even get this good. They're 4-12, and the Sixers are just playing absolute dog caca right now. It's that bad. But we gotta deal with this as dealt and actually try to look more legitimate, especially when we're not in the Garden. And I'm hoping for just one game over the like five others that we can look more legitimate around until the holiday break ends here. So hope that's it. That's all my point of views, because it's a bit more funner watching Knicks basketball, even though I liked it when everybody was switching, pushing over in the defense, getting more hands on deck when it comes to blocks behind the arc, because I feel like it's more of a priority than ever, especially how 3-point heavy the NBA is. So I feel like that's a big miss over offensively. Defensively, that I think Thibodeau obviously has no control over in the front office when it comes to favoritizing what's his style of player that he wants. Because I swear that I bet if Robert Covington was still available, he'd be a Knick. That's it for me over in the DST show. Like, comment, subscribe for more. You feel like the Knicks are, not looking as good as they should be, or you think they're looking great, or something else. That's it for me.